Hello everyone, my vlog here for the big game tomorrow against Croatia. Scotland had a big blow today, obviously, with Billy Gilmore getting COVID. It's a big disappointment it's a real big disappointment to us, big blow. First instant when you get the news is it's a real bad blow, but then when you think about it, I mean, we got here without him. He's not been a big influential player for us leading up to the game tomorrow. So I mean, it's not like we've been dependent and relying on him to get us to where we are now, basically. So he'll be a miss, yeah, but I mean, we've still got enough about the squad to get the job done, I think. It's just a matter of the way the result went just now that just finished. That's one result in our favour, so it might just be a case of any win will do us on tomorrow night, which hopefully is the case because we're not the biggest of scorers. So to ask us to win 2-0 might be stretching it a bit. Who we play in place of Gilmore's a tough one. Might be tempted to play either Armstrong in his place in midfield. Even like on the top normally message board, somebody had a good shout for Turnbull, but I think it's just too big a game to throw him in. Well, I think that'd be his first cap with it, second cap. So I reckon it might be either I would keep the defence as it was against England, keep McTominay in the back three. I think we need a more sort of like attack-minded midfielder, if you know what I mean. Because we're going to need goals tomorrow, so we're going to need more attack-minded. McTominay comes across as more defence-minded, and we need attackers. We need goals tomorrow. Basically, we need to get the ball in the back of the net for the first time in the tournament. So I would go with maybe Armstrong, or maybe even play Christie. Probably be Armstrong, I would say I would go for. Some people are saying, no, we should play Fleck in there, but I don't think he's at the same standard as Armstrong as myself. So I'd sooner see, if I was to go for anyone, would be play Armstrong in place of Gilmore. Aside from that, I can't see there being too many changes to the side. That'll be O'Donnell at right wing back, and back line will be as it was against England, McTominay, Hanley, Tierney, Robertson. Midfielder would play, now that Gilmore's out, McGregor, Armstrong, McGinn, and up front, Adams and Dykes. It's definitely, I mean, I know you think to yourself, well, the World Cup runners up and all of that, but they have definitely fallen off since that World Cup. I mean, that World Cup was 3 years ago now. We've had players in that. We've had players retiring from for Croatia. You've got players that are aging now. I mean, their best players are all in their just over their 30s, are in their 30s. Obviously, Modric is mid-30s. I think it's important that we do the same sort of job England done on Modric, totally marking him out of the game, nullifying his threat, and I think we'll do well there. I do think we've got a bit of a trump card on the pace front. They are a very slow team. They don't like pace. So get Tierney and Robertson at pace down the wings, and that will give them something to worry about as well. It's just the worries to me is where the goals are going to come from. We're not the most prolific of goal scorers. It doesn't bother me where they come from as long as they come, if you know what I mean. But I definitely don't think it's just because the World Cup runners up that we should be. I mean, you look how we well done against England. England beat Croatia, if you see what I mean. I've not been impressed by Croatia at all, really. I mean, even when they got the equaliser against the Czech Republic, they didn't show any real urgency. You know what I mean? It's almost, to me, when I was watching it, it was almost like their attitude was, oh, we'll take a point here and then we'll beat Scotland in the last game and we'll be through. Yeah, I definitely think they've got a chance, Neil. Definitely. It's just a matter of it being Scotland. We've been in this position lots and lots of times before, we hope, and then your bubble goes and gets bust. I mean, we've not had the best of luck at this tournament at all, really. I mean, first game we had Tierney out, who's one of our best players. As I said the other night there, Tierney could probably get himself into any of the squads at the Euros, and that's not being talking nonsense. He could probably make his way into any of the squads at the Euros here. And Gilmore as well is one for the future. I think Gilmore's one we'll miss for this game, obviously. But as I say, it's not Gilmore's times to come in future years. Obviously, he's got maybe 10, maybe 12 years in front of him playing for us. So if it was like 2 years down the line and just say we qualify for the World Cup and he gets ruled out, we'll probably be more dependent on Gilmore then, maybe, if you see what I mean. But now he's only just making into the side. So, I mean, we've got here qualified without Gilmore being at the side. So we've got enough going about the squad there to certainly give us plenty of hope. I mean, if you look. Yeah, I think it was maybe a niggle that he had, and they didn't want to risk him. I think maybe it probably wasn't as a really terrible result injury, but they didn't want to push him and risk him being out, say for the Croatia game, where they knew probably that they would still have a chance of going through against Croatia, even if they lost against England. There'd be an outside chance of still going through as one of the better third place teams. So. I would say it wasn't really a terrible injury for him to miss that game, but they didn't want to risk him. That's the way I would have said, really. But it's certainly a game tomorrow that we shouldn't be going in fearing Croatia at all, really. I mean, we do that. All we need to do is play a really good tempo, be a little bit, be far more clinical in front of goal. That's the only thing that we are lacking. I mean, you look at our two games we've played for so far. We played the Czech Republic, who are slightly ranked above us, and England, who are ranked way above us. And in both games, we've created more chances. We've had more shots on target than our opponents, who are sort of like ranked above us. So we've done sort of really well. Just a shame we never got anything from the Czech Republic game. I think, but can't go back looking up. We've got to look ahead to this Croatia game. They are definitely from the team. What I've seen against England, I know it was hot and all of that, and what I saw against the Czech Republic, they're not a team blessed with a lot of pace. So definitely, I think the dangers are going to come for us as utilise our pace of Robertson and Tierney will definitely be the key to opening them up. The strikers have really got to be on the ball. The good thing is, I think, if we go 1-0 up, Croatia are a very temperamental side. A lot of these Eastern Europeans are. They are very, how can I put it? Things aren't going their well, they're going their way. They can get really cynical, if you know what I mean. So that might come into play as well. They might start losing the rag if they go a goal down and all of that. Oh yeah, it's definitely a must-win game. But Croatia, many teams are like that, and that's what Croatia are like. Croatia they're a counter-attacking side, so they like to sit back, even though it's not the sort of game that you should be playing in a game that you have to win. That's the sort of game that they've got, if you know what I mean. It's what's got them where they are. So can they really change that? They'll know that Scotland have got to come on to them as well. And that's where they'll hope to get the joys hitting us on the counter attack, basically. So it's a matter of us taking our chances more than anything. We get the slightest chances, we've got to take them. I mean, it goes without saying, really. bit more clinical, we could have got something against Czech Republic. We hit the bar. We had near misses. I think they cleared or blocked a shot on the line, like England did as well. So it could have been better, but it isn't. We are where we are. We've got to get a result against Croatia. That's a be all and end all of it, really. And I don't. The one thing going for us as well, we played them 5 times, Croatia in total. We've never been beaten against them. We've had 2 wins and we've had 3 draws against Croatia. They've never beaten us in 5 games. So that holds us in good stead as well, although I don't really think that's really quite a relevant stat, I don't think, because obviously I think the last time we played them was 2014 or something like that. So you're talking about totally new set of players that are playing in the game, if you see what I mean. But even so, it's certainly a game that we shouldn't be going out there thinking, oh, we're playing the World Cup runs up, because as I say, there's a shadow of that side that was in the World Cup from what I've seen of them. Like Alan Shearer said during the England game or after that, he said they looked toothless, and I totally agree with that. They did. They just looked toothless. They looked to me like they turned up for the England game and thought, we'll take a draw here. A bit like Ukraine tonight in the game that's just finished. They're like 2 exactly the same mindsets. 2 teams who came into the game thinking, oh, draw deals, real fine here. And then when the goal comes, you can't. Your mindset is on defence. It's hard to up the tempo when you've been so laid back, thinking, "Oh, this is great. Stroke it around, a few passes here and there." You need to get your attacking game in gear. It doesn't click into place like that. If you see what I mean? In my opinion, that's what I think happened to Ukraine tonight, and I think it happened against England on Saturday. The last week Sunday, the first game, Croatia. So there's certainly a lot of reasons to be hopeful. Big blow losing Billy Gilmore, but nothing can be done about that now. You've just got to crack on. I mean, even if we do fall short, there's been a lot of positives to take out of the tournament. Obviously, the way we played against England. The fact that we've created so many chances in both of the games, created more chances than our opponents, which is a positive. Billy Gilmore is another positive. He's shown that he's got a long future ahead of him for Scotland over the next 10, 12 years, if you see what I mean. So even should we fall short, which I hope to God we don't again, we've still got a lot that we can take from the tournament and build on, because with a little bit more luck, we could have easily been talking very differently about these 3 games, if you see what I mean. Like, we desperately missed Kieran Tierney against the Czechs, and we definitely, I would say, had the better of the game against England. So certainly, considering as well that our squad is totally new to major tournaments, this is our first sort of like game there. Now, I've seen lots of teams at this Euros, and for me, looking at Croatia were absolutely ranked rotten tonight. They weren't much better than the other game that they got beaten as well. They got beat, didn't they? They came back against Holland and got beat 3-2, but in terms of them, they haven't impressed me. There's been other teams as well that have been a bit disappointing, if you know what I mean. Then you come to Spain. Spain have been disappointing. I mean, Spain, you come to expect them to be free-flowing, scoring goals for fun. Well, you watch them and you think, where are they going to get a goal from? Because they just pass the ball around in the opponent's half, going nowhere. Passes back, passes sideways, make neat little patterns, but there's no end product with Spain, if you see what I mean. But as I say, I hope we give it a real go. We give it a real go and create chances, but don't take them. Hey ho! At least I'm sooner that we went down fighting rather than just going out meekly, but I don't think we will. We've got to go for it anyway. That's a given. I mean, an early goal would be really good for us. There again, it depends. I mean, if we only need a win, and that's all we need, not like a 2-0 win, like it is at the moment, the way the other groups are standing, unless we win by 2 clear goals, we're out no matter what happens at the moment. But the result there that just went on there, that just finished, with Ukraine finishing third on 3 points, that's one team out of the way. We just need another team to fall short of what we can achieve. Then that's it. A win will do us, whatever the score. So even if we keep it tight and it's still 0-0 after an hour, then all of that, it's still all to play for. If anything, the later we score, the better, because it gives the opponents less time to equalise, and it definitely be better for my heart, I suppose. And at the end of the day, if you know what I mean. I mean, I couldn't imagine us taking the lead after like 5 minutes. They are watching for 85 minutes. You know what I mean? And we sit back, if you see what I mean. I wouldn't want to see that happening. I don't think I could take that myself, but there's certainly a real cause for optimism. I mean, as I say, get our pace down the flanks going. And some people are still saying, "No, we want Patterson on the right." On the right, O'Donnell does just fine there. I mean, people say he doesn't create chances and all of that. He does. I've seen him create. I think he's created about 2 or 3 goals, key goals for us, which is just blatant lies, basically, that he doesn't create anything. It's just not true. He nearly scored against England. All right, he had a few one or two shaky moments against the Czech Republic, but he never cost us any goals. I mean, people point, and because he was so slow getting over to shut down for the first goal, well, he came from, if you watch that, he came from sort of like broke out from the other Scotland players and ran around. It wasn't his wing either. That was Robertson's wing. So, I mean, I don't know why people sort of like think that's him. Why isn't he closing down quick enough? There's other players in that defence that can get out there and close down as well, if you see what I mean. It shouldn't just be down to one person and say that was bad, that was his fault. Well, the other thing that Croatia have got to worry about as well, I mean, I know it's been sort of like I've read parts and bits and bobs about it, and they were mentioning, I think, in the commentary in the Czech Republic game, the Croatia got absolutely slammed for the way that they played against England. I don't think they would have got much more in the way of credit just getting a draw against the Czech Republic either. I think they would have been getting slated there because, so they're certainly not the flavour of the month for the home press back in Croatia. So they're definitely under pressure, if you see what I mean. Under pressure to get a result. Now, us, all right, we'll take the blow about no Billy Gilmore, but us we're coming out of the England game with a lot of credit. It was a real boost for the morale and all that. So I think we'll be going into the Croatia game in higher spirits than Croatia will. Croatia are in a place they wouldn't have thought they would have been in at this stage of the group. No way. To me, against the Czech Republic, when I watched that game, as I said, it seemed to me that once they got back to 1-1, the mindset was, oh, we'll beat Scotland in the next game, we'll be all right, we'll just sort of like, we'll settle, we don't want to take any real chances, we'll settle for our draw, if you see what I mean. That's the mindset that I got from watching Croatia. I just hope to God it comes back and bites them in the arse, if you know what I mean, because it doesn't really go showing a lot of respect to teams that you still got to play. You see what I mean? I mean, the other thing as well that's got to be, I mean, I think England they should beat the Czech Republic, but it's not a given or guarantee or anything like that. So it's something that England fans should be wary of. There's a lot of the mindset of like Wales had it. Wales were like, oh, like that's it, we're through. All right, they did go through in the end, but they had a bit of a more sweat about it yesterday than what they thought they were going to have. That might be the case for England. You never know. All it needs is for Scotland to get an early goal and Czech Republic to get an early goal, and all of a sudden England are looking around, checking goal differences, finding out where they might finish. You know what I mean? So it's something that England will want to get off to a flyer against Czech Republic as well, if you see what I mean, tomorrow night. But it's a game that we can go in there and we can certainly be hopefully getting a result out of, you know what I mean. The only concerns that I've got are the threat of the likes of Modric and Viskovic and Kovacic and Petkovic, and if we can keep them relatively quiet, that'll be one part of the things I'm worried about. And the second part I'm worried about is us managing to find the back of the net. We've got to score, and that's a be all and end all, really. Doesn't matter how we do it, we've just got to get that ball in the back of the net. So big, definitely I'd say, well, certainly is. It's the biggest game that we've had since France 98, when we went into the last game against Morocco. I know it wouldn't have mattered in the end with that game anyway, apart with the Morocco game. But we went in there, I remember going in, and we went into that game with a case of like, oh, if we get a win, we might still get through as one of the third place teams. Didn't happen, obviously. It wouldn't have happened, I mean. But so this is the biggest game since that game, definitely, I would say. And biggest game at the Euros, obviously, since the Swiss game when they only managed to beat Switzerland 1-0 at Villa Park. So it's been a long time since we've had games like these, but we've got to sort of like enjoy these occasions as much as we can and take from the tournament, even if we do fall short. But I'm hopeful we don't, if you see what I mean. Just be absolutely brilliant if it was we got the result that finally got this thingy off our back, this bloody, what's the word you call for it? I'm not sure what the terminology is, but we've never got through the group stages before, and we get that, and we'd kill that one stone dead if we could somehow get that result tomorrow. And it would be a really good way to follow up from the England game. That's it, monkey, that's what I'm thinking. And it would be really, be our keep the momentum going from the England game. It'd be a shame if the England game and the result we got from there and the pats on the back that they all got, if it all petered out into a similar sort of result that we had against the Czech Republic, like a 1-0, 2-0 defeat. Even if it's something like a hard one to take, like we score 1-0 and equalise late on, then at least again we can say we gave it a good go and all of that. I mean, most of all, and the most important thing is we score. That's the main thing. But to me, one thing that it does show is, and that's when you take into consideration, we had one of our best players out for the Czech game, and we've got Gilmore out for this game. If you consider we're into the last game and still we have a chance of getting through, then that tells me, and in both of the games, there's no way that you can say that we don't deserve to be there on how we played. We've not disgraced ourselves. We've had the better of the game against, we've had more chances against the Czech Republic. We had the better of the game against England. That tells me, that we deserve to be at this level and competing here. So hopefully it won't be another 20 odd years again before we're back here again, because this group of players have shown that they can compete at this level, and we're a little bit more luck, results could have went our way and we could have been in a much healthier position. It's just a case of, like I've said before, our Achilles heel is a real top-notch striker, if you know what I mean. If we had like a Gareth Bale or someone of that ilk on our side, we would be sort of like a real sort of like contender at the time we go into qualifiers. If you see what I mean, we'd be a contender, far more stronger contender to qualify. And that's our problem over the last few years. We've had maybe a better attack and maybe a weaker defence. Now we're strong and we've showed up our defence a lot. We're a lot bit stronger in midfield, but the strikers, we're still searching for that quality up front. That's a whole problem Scotland have had over the last 20 years since we haven't qualified. I think after we didn't qualify since 1998. That was the end of Craig Brown's reign coming to an end, and he left in about early 2000s. But he was persevering with a lot of the old guard. We weren't bringing in a lot of young players. When Bertie Goldstoke took over, he had to play a lot of the young players because there was all the old guard. A lot of them were retiring, so a lot of untried players needed bedding into the side. Obviously, a lot of them flopped, but there were good ones that came out of that time. You had the likes of Darren Fletcher and McFadden and all that good young players. But we had Kenny Miller for a while, who I thought was better than what a lot of the fans give him credit for. In my eyes, he had scored 18 goals for Scotland, which is a good return for Scottish international strikers. But a lot of and that was a lot of the time he was playing one striker up front. But the defence wasn't so good then. Our defence had like gaping holes in it that was costing us. So it's frustrating. We get one position sorted, and then we've got to look to try and improve in other areas, and that's putting balls in the back of the net. Last few months, we've got by a lot of goals being weighed in from midfielders or attacking midfielders. John McGinn's chipped in with lots of goals. James Forrest done it for a bit. Ryan Christie done it. Ryan Fraser done it. They're all sort of like midfield or attacking midfielders who just play off the striker. The strikers alone haven't really sort of like chipped in with a heck of a lot of goals. Dykes is more of a striker that links up with other players. He's set up a few chances and a few goals, but he's not what you would call a top-notch marksman, if you know what I mean. He's good at knocking the ball down for players to get onto the end of chances. He had one or two against, he had a good chance against the Czech Republic when it was 2-0. I think it was just shortly after they had went 2-0 up. He should have really scored, in my opinion. He was through maybe about 8 yards out. Didn't really hit the shot cleanly enough, allowed the Czech goalie to save it with his feet. In my eyes, I think that should have been a goal, and that's the things that are really costing us. But all being well, we'll get a goal somewhere tomorrow. Hopefully, one goal will be enough. You know what I mean? At the moment, as I say, we're relying on games going away tonight. Obviously, that's one team out of the way that's going to have a worse third place record than us, Ukraine, because they've only got 3 points. There might be one from the games tonight as well. So just got to settle down to watch those games in a bit. But hope the lads can do it tomorrow. I was looking at tickets because you can still get them. You can look around and but it's all ticket types things, and they're just so astronomically dear. You know what I mean? Like after you paid, like you see them and you think, well, that's good. It's only £75. One was on via Google, but that's before they add the tax on. once you add the tax on, it shoots up to about £300. Just way out of my price bracket for a ticket for a game. So that's a real shame as well. I mean, UEFA should be clamping down on it. It is a godsend to some. I know that. I've done it before. I've got tickets from those sorts of places for the Germany game a few years back and Dusseldorf when we got beat 2-1 in the World Cup qualifier when Anya scored. I got the tickets through via Google for that. So I have done it myself at times when but to me, I don't see how UEFA are allowing this to happen. Any of the tickets that are kicking around out there should have been all lumped together, and if they haven't sold them in any areas, you should go back to the supporters clubs, Scottish supporters, Croatian supporters, and allow them another stab at buying more tickets. Otherwise, you end up with empty seats, and what's the sense in that? Because you'll get people who won't, like me, are not going to pay £350 for a ticket. Whereas if it was all done legitimately, they'll be back on at face value at the Scottish Supporters Club or the with the Croatian supporters. So it's a bit of a pet hate, really. I can't grumble too much because, as I said, I have in the past resorted to using these ticket type sort of sites like via Google, livetickets.com, Tide Combo and all that, all these sorts of ones like that. But it's really sort of frustrating. Really frustrating about COVID as well, spoiling things, because imagine Hampden being absolutely cram-packed to capacity tomorrow, you know what I mean, without any of this COVID crap, and Christ, that we're doing a great day. Anyway, let's hope the lads can do it tomorrow. I'll be back on maybe Wednesday, sometime on Wednesday for our review of the match. Hopefully it'll be with a smile on the face. So come on, Scotland!